What's up everyone, Mike here with another topic video slash channel update slash I don't really know, it's really a content update thing. I don't know what to call this one, but basically I'm going to be talking a little bit about what I'm working on while also talking about a topic. And so that topic is going to be basically what makes you original, talking about the whole content creation sort of side of things and a little bit more of the artist sort of stuff as well, because it's something that a lot of creators should be asking themselves, especially on YouTube, because there's millions of people that are making content. And so basically you have to ask yourself, like, why would somebody watch my content over somebody else's? And this goes for absolutely everything, you know, from art, let's say your drawings, like why would somebody even care about my drawings? Why would somebody want to see them? And yes, art is in like drawings and maybe music and stuff like that is a lot easier to consume en masse without actually like having to invest all that much. Like you clicking on this video and watching the video requires the amount of time that it takes for the video to finish. However, to consume a piece of art, you can tab into it and be like, all right, cool, and then click off of it, and it's very, very quick. But for video content, you definitely have to ask yourself that question. Now, in the background, I'm literally just capturing my desktop while I'm kind of testing out some performance stuff. And so, yeah, we'll talk about why I'm testing this specifically later in this video, but it is something that I'm kind of killing two birds with one stone. So apologies if it ends up being really stuttery or anything like that. I'm not actually sure exactly how this is all working out. I'm trying some new settings and everything and just trying to get this thing to work. It's actually working fairly well, so that's good. But regardless, let's go ahead and go into the topic. So what makes me personally original? This is something that I've always kind of asked myself ever since I started doing basically anything art-wise. When I was a little kid, I was always like, all right, why would somebody care about my drawings? You know, why would they care? Quite frankly, they don't. And that was a question that I've kind of tried to answer throughout pretty much everything that I'm doing. And it kind of led to this sort of logical thought process of everything has to have a purpose, because without a purpose, there's literally no reason for it to exist. And that purpose can be simple. It can be like having fun or something like that. You know, you can look at a lot of YouTube creators that just like to have fun. So let's say most of the Let's Play channels in existence that are all about just having fun. And that can be your reason. And that can be your draw. However, there's also going to be a lot of other people with that draw. So why would somebody personally go to my channel for, let's say, my critical content? I've always kind of had the argument for my impressions reviews, which I think is basically my main content, and that's the content I'm going to be doing for basically forever. But everything else is just changing constantly because I'm always trying new things, and I'm not afraid to change things up, which is probably a draw. I'm not necessarily sure if I can call it a draw, because it could be a sort of drawback as well. People could look at that and be like, oh, well, this guy doesn't even know what he's doing, and he could just be doing different things. So maybe sometimes changing up content a lot and trying to like mix things up isn't necessarily a good thing, but I feel like it's a good thing to kind of have like a base. And so my base is those impressions reviews. And obviously the draw to that is just the niche in those reviews in general, is that it's a review based on the game and its mechanics and really kind of focusing on trying to show the game in any sort of light, not necessarily positive, not necessarily negative, but just trying to show the game off to whoever wants to view that sort of content and be like, hey, would you actually like this game? Let's say you're making a purchase decision, or you're thinking of the next JRPG to invest your time in or something like that. You know, you can end up watching one of those, being like, oh, these are the mechanics in the game. This is how the story ends up going. And would I enjoy this or would I not enjoy this? And that's definitely a draw that a lot of reviewers don't actually do. And I know I'm not the only one that makes those sort of reviews. However, I feel like I also talk fairly quickly and I'm able to get through a lot of talking points very efficiently. There's a lot of people that say like, oh, your videos are really, really long. And I've actually kind of drawn some of them out, and people don't realize that sometimes I actually record those multiple times. For example, my Mega Dimension Neptunia review was recorded 6 times. And each time it was getting shorter and shorter and shorter. And the only way I was able to actually make that as short as it is, which it's still a 50-minute video, is able to just be able to talk through your points very, very quickly. And yes, I do ramble. I probably could have shortened that video up by another 2 to 3 minutes, but at the same time, that's 2 to 3 minutes, which in the grand scheme of things isn't all that much. But that is a main draw, I think, to a lot of my content in the review sort of space. Now, obviously, you guys in the comments can definitely tell me what you think the main draw is or anything like that. I'm definitely looking for feedback, because that's not necessarily something you can analyze yourself. Sometimes you need to look at other people and be like, all right, what do you think is the main draw? And so far, that has been what people say is my main draw. That, and they say that they see a lot of potential in where it's going, because I genuinely care about what I create. I genuinely care about the sort of quality of life, the quality of control that I have within my videos. I re-record things all the time. I could end up re-recording the thing that I'm recording right now like 7 to 8 times just because I want it to be decent. And I'm going to try not to do that as much, and I've kind of like broken that habit a little bit more with the whole daily topic video things that I've been doing. Now for content updating, I'm actually getting rid of that topic update thing to where I'm doing a topic video every day because, quite frankly, it's not that fun to create a video every day, I would say. It's more or less something that I'm like, all right, well, I see this topic and I kind of like it and I do enjoy making them, but I feel like I'm going to move that to a weekly series, and I don't feel like it's not necessarily going to be a draw to my channel, so I'm probably going to do like a weekly roundup of interesting things that I'm going to have, and I'm going to be releasing those on Wednesdays, I think. Right now, my reviews release on Fridays. However, that could end up changing. Just everything could end up changing. Maybe that's a draw. Maybe that's a drawback. I'm not 100% sure. I know that some people like to see experimenting, and so I like to experiment, and I'm definitely not afraid to try new things. So maybe that is definitely a positive. And one of the new things that I'm actually trying is trying to get back into Let's Play, but I'm always kind of trying to answer that question. What makes me unique, and what kind of draws people to my content specifically over somebody else's? And so one of my solutions is actually kind of exploring what I can do that other people don't necessarily even want to do, try to do, or maybe they just can't do. And so that actually kind of goes into what I'm playing in the background. So the game in the background is Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, one of my favorite games of all time. It is a really, really fun, not only single player, but multiplayer as well. It's kind of almost multiplayer exclusive, but right now I'm actually playing. It was originally released on the GameCube, and it actually had sort of a GameCube link thing. The original package with the game actually came with a VGA cable that was like able to connect your Game Boy Advance with your GameCube and everything like that. It was actually pretty cool, and it was the first multi-monitor game that I ever played. And I don't know if it's necessarily the first one, but it was actually really, really cool. So one of my Let's Plays that I'm actually going to be releasing is going to be of this game. However, we're going to be running it through an emulator, and we're going to be playing it with a Game Boy Advance thing over to the right side, as you can see up in the top right. And we're going to be playing around with things a little bit more, and that's kind of something that I want to try to do, is just do things that are out of the ordinary, maybe considered taboo, you could say. Like, let's say, you know, emulators in general. People love to avoid emulators because everyone's like, emulation's bad. And I'm not a share of that opinion. And so I feel like trying to explore different sort of things. Maybe I'll look at more logical types of aspects. Maybe I'll do like tutorial type stuff and be like, all right, this is how you do this. Because there's a lot of knowledge that I have and a lot of knowledge that I can find or have connections to that I can be like, all right, you know what? I can make this sort of content that, like, let's say somebody wanted to set this up for themselves. I can make a tutorial video easy. That is not something that is outside of my realm. And I feel like that could end up having not only a market. I know that sounds terrible when people mention like, oh, well, this type of video has a market. I feel like that's kind of an important aspect to look at it, because even if I'm not doing this for profit, it still kind of like shows like, all right, what are people actually looking for and what's actually going to benefit people in the long run? Because showing somebody how to set this up could end up being something that they'd be like, all right, you know what, maybe I'll try that. And then they end up trying it and they have fun and everything like that. And maybe they end up learning from it too. Like, could be like, if you look at these from a more mechanical perspective or software perspective and be like, all right, well, how does this actually work? And then they'll be like, all right, well, this kind of works this way. And it's like, oh, well, maybe I could apply this to something else. Maybe I could apply this to other emulators, or maybe I could do this or that with it. And so I feel like that's also something that would be really, really cool from doing this sort of stuff. And when I do my Let's Plays, I feel like when I go back into it, I'm going to be looking at it more critically rather than the sort of fun Let's Play, let's just do everything. Like, obviously, I'm going to try and have fun. But when I did Let's Plays back in the day, there was a lot of kind of situations where I was like, all right, what is actually original about this? Because I obviously have my personality, but there's nothing kind of drawing to it. And I feel like everyone has to look at their content and be like, all right, well, like, what am I doing that's different than everyone else? That's going to make me stand out? What is my unique identity? What is my brand? What is my personality? What is absolutely everything that I make? And how can I make it all one together that is going to be something that nobody else could create? And so that's what I'm looking at. And overall, my content will mainly be the critical stuff. So I'm basically making the impressions review is just going to be what it always has. I've always messed around with the format a little bit and been like, oh, I'm going to change this and change that and stuff like that. And that's that's just something that's going to happen. However, the other stuff, like, let's say the topic videos, I'm definitely moving those away. Design views coming back. Crap, I can't think of what I was working on. What was the one I was working on? I was literally writing it earlier today. I can't even remember. Wow, I was writing like few of them. I'm writing a few of them basically right now. And so, yeah, I did one on free-to-play games and everything like that, and that was decent. It was kind of like a test trial, but I'm definitely kind of like mainstreaming the content and everything like that. And then obviously I'm going to be getting into Let's Plays. Now, I started as a Let's Player. If you don't know my history, I actually started as a Let's Player because a friend was like, hey, we're going to try Let's Play. I'm like, cool, invite me to it. And they're like, oh yeah, we'll get to it. And then they never really did. And I'm like, you know what? I kind of want to try it. And so I ended up trying it. And that's what I actually did for, I think, like 2.5 years. And so 2.5 years of just making Let's Plays and working with other people, doing a bunch of collaborations. Met a lot of cool people doing that, by the way. And so I kind of want to get back into that, but I want to do it with the new identity, the new brand, and definitely figure out exactly who I am in this sort of personality content field. And I feel like that'll help me grow as well. One of the problems that I have right now is that I have a lot of potential and people see that. And like, I personally know, I know that's going to sound arrogant as hell, but I'm going to be like, hey, I have potential. And people are going to see that. And people have seen that and they've mentioned it to me. People that are both, you know, friends, non-friends, commenters, yada, yada. And I just want to find that potential and take full advantage of it and be like, all right, well, what can I do to actually capture that uniqueness that I have and those unique strengths and make them into something great? So hopefully you guys watching this video and you guys in the future that don't watch this video, but you still end up checking out my future content, hopefully my direction ends up being something that's very intelligent and actually creates something coherent. And something that is actually kind of interesting, because I feel like I can have a very interesting dynamic. I feel like I can have this sort of critical type content and then also have this sort of fun Let's Play style content, maybe this sort of tutorial type stuff as well. Like, I feel like I can do all of that type of stuff and make it unique and interesting because I know so much within the sort of gaming field. Now, I don't know everything, and I definitely am looking for feedback and new ideas. So if you guys have any ideas of stuff that I should try, definitely leave me a comment. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. This has been Michael with a sort of, I guess, almost personal sort of talk about a topic / sort of content update. And so, yeah, look forward to the future, I guess, Let's Play stuff. I should call it something else. But yeah, anyways, game in the background has been Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. I'm playing it through Dolphin. So yeah, I know some people hate emulators. Leave those hate comments down there below if you want to. I really don't care, to be honest. And yeah, so it's actually a really, really fun game. It's a JRPG thing, and I'll be making videos on it in the future. So go ahead and look forward to that. And make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more content like this one and my other content. You can check out all those types of content that I was talking about. You can check out my impressions reviews, which are going to be basically my main content. Those release on a weekly basis. The next one is Ori and the Blind Forest, but I did one for a game called Icy, which was actually a really, really cool 2D action game. That was really, really fun, and I actually enjoyed it because I had like a sort of meta story that I couldn't exactly explain. You can also check out my topic videos, which are about industry stuff and basically news, and I'm moving that to a weekly series, so that'll be releasing at some point, probably Wednesdays. And you can also end up checking out the new Let's Play content in the future. You can also check out my old Let's Play stuff if you want to, but it's actually rather terrible, so I don't necessarily recommend that. But yeah, hopefully my direction ends up being in a good route. And if anybody has any sort of feedback to it, make sure to send it my way and be like, hey, maybe you should try this, or hey, I think this is cool about you, or I think this is uncool about you. Definitely tell me what I'm doing wrong, because I can be told what I'm doing right all day and be like, all right, cool, I'm doing that right, I'm doing that right, that's fine. But then as soon as I find something that's wrong, I'm be like, all right, this is what I have wrong, how can I end up fixing that and improve for the future? And so yeah, definitely let me hear that. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Sorry that kind of dragged out a little bit. I will see you guys in the next video. Hopefully. Unless you unsubscribed. In which case, that sucks. And I'm not very happy about it.